Right. Well, it's a good day for a ghost story. Wet and horrible and windy out there. And I've got my cup of tea, and it's chapter 4. The Curatage is on the list of old buildings that are protected. It's graded 2, so it's not particularly special. But what you can do to it is restricted, and Purbeck Council's listed buildings officer is where you start. After several not very enlightening phone calls, he agreed to come in 4 weeks' time to have a look and stressed that nothing must be done, including any exploration before then. Grandad hoped he was thin. The children were just frustrated. Here was something they had all dreamed of, an unexplored tunnel, and they were not allowed to go looking into it. How rotten was that? They were all a bit sullen and didn't want to take part in any of Judy's suggestions of walks, games, trips, or anything. The tunnel loomed large in all conversations. Grandad was sorry for them. He knew how they felt because he felt it too. The only time that afternoon that they got a little bit excited was the visit to the ginger pop shop in the square. This was in the same building as the old post office, and according to the grandparents, on the route of the tunnel. The fact that the shop was entirely dedicated to Enid Blyton was a strange coincidence. Enid had come to Purbeck every year for her holidays and written extensively about Corfe, calling it Kirin Castle in her famous 5 adventures. And these stories were full of tunnels and other exciting adventures. Had Enid heard about the Curatage tunnel and put it in her stories? The lady in the shop was interested, said she'd never been in the cellar of the building, but that there definitely was one, and she didn't know who had the key. Probably the National Trust, she thought. She did admit to hearing strange noises occasionally, but the kids were not sure if she was just stringing them along. When the children stood outside the shop, the castle was directly in front of them, past the market cross and the sweet shop. Esme walked to the cross and sat on the plinth, Castle behind her, looking at the ginger pop shop. The tunnel must go under the middle of St. Edward's Church, then to the Curatage, and perhaps from there on to Morton's house. The old hotel opposite the Curatage? Queried Yaya. Yes, it was built in honour of Queen Bess, Elizabeth I of England, and it's in the shape of an E. Could be for me, said Esme. Only if you were 500 years old. The ginger pop lady came out of her shop and saw Luca first. Hey, you, come back in, will you? I think you've woken up the ghost of something. What's your name anyway? Luca? Sounds foreign to me. Anyway, come on in. She led him down some stairs at the back of the shop and disappeared down. Luca followed. He found himself in a small little storage area in front of a large locked door. My name's Viv. Now listen, Luca, and tell me what you hear. Initially, nothing. Then, after a minute or so of standing around awkwardly, they both heard a sort of scratchy, bumping sound. That's what I heard in the cellar. Definitely. It's the same noise. It must be ghosts. It must be. Steady on, young Luca. It's certainly odd, but I doubt it's ghosts banging around in the middle of the afternoon. Come on, let's see if we can get the key. The trust office is just over the road at the castle main gate entrance. As Viv turned to go, there was a particularly loud crash that seemed to be just behind the door. Luca was up the stairs in front of her before you could say Jack Robinson. Fortunately, or not, as you don't know yet, the estate manager was in his office, and he did have the key. He was intrigued, said he'd never been in the room, but it was just recorded as storage, He did, however, say that no children were allowed. Luca had by this time met up with the girls and had rather breathlessly related the story up to the minute. They all pleaded with the manager to see what was in the room, but he was adamant. He even suggested, for safety, Viv should stay away in case there was a risk like a gas leak or similar. The kids were miffed, slumped shoulders, but crowded into the shop entrance as he went off down the stairs. They heard the old key turn in the old lock, and the squeaky wrenching noise as the old door opened. There was a muffled cry, another crackety-crack crash, and the sound of the door slamming shut. Boom! The children were clinging on to each other for mutual support. Even Viv was pretty close. They waited for the National Trust man to reappear, and they waited. But after a while, they began to worry that he was not going to come back. Viv, middle-aged, brave as a lion, took the first step. She went to the stairs and started on down. Then she screamed, "Get an ambulance! Quick! Use your phone, one of you! He's hurt! He's really hurt! I think I'm going down to help him!" The ambulance men brought him up on a stretcher. The children tried to get close. He was semi-conscious and crying out, "The skulls! The skulls! God save us!" End of chapter 4.